Hello. Um, I'm going to be drawing a skull, multiple skulls, because um, you can't have too many skulls, right? um, I'm gonna be redoing this because in the first attempt, my nose was making this weird like whistling noise whenever I breathed, and I hated it. Um, and then in this one, I forgot what happened. Oh yeah, I tried doing a hand thing where I represented the skull, and then it was just it was something I was inexperienced in, which is explaining things to people. I can't do that. I'm gonna try my best for you know, for you. So basically, the main points I went through for the beginning of how I draw skulls is you have a circle, and you have a forehead. This is going to be like the kind of top part of your skull, but not the entirety of the top part. I'll explain. But basically, you have a circle, and then you have a rectangle. The rectangle is going to represent the forehead, in that if I was to move this rectangle here, the forehead would be here, and then the skull would be looking in this direction, like all over here. But it's right here. So here's the eyes going to be here, and then it's facing this direction. If I was to draw the rectangle like in the middle, it'd be kind of bigger because of perspective. Um, it's going to be looking straight at us, and then its rectangles like behind the circle, just looking behind us. But I use a rectangle because I was trying to learn how to draw like skulls and stuff, and then they kind of showed me like you have a kind of square part in the front, and then it kind of tapers into the side of your head. But usually I just focus on like that one square area, so that's why I use a rectangle. And skulls, you have noses. I like drawing the nose first because like everything's simplified, and the nose is kind of simple. So I usually draw from the beginning of where the nose starts, um, or like roughly the middle of the rectangle. I do a line. It could be as large or whatever angle you want, but it's just a line. It's a line. I usually end it like kind of at the bottom of the circle, just because like I have a reference mark as to where everything else would be. And then I do a diamond at the end. And I like doing a diamond because like it looks like there's a hole, kind of, and you don't really have to draw that much. But the main part is like you can have the nose line be part of the diamond, and like it's just convenient, I guess. And then like right, I haven't really studied where cheekbones are relative to the nose, but I usually draw it like about same level as the hole, I guess. So for the cheekbones, I'm just doing ovals where I think the cheeks would be. So like if I was to draw a character with rosy cheeks and I was going to like circle it, that's what it would look like. Kind of, yeah. And this is the face is coming kind of together. So forehead goes to the nose, just cheeks and stuff. But now for the back part of the head, you have this rectangle here, and I usually use this like space that the forehead takes up, and I transport it over here. And I'm adding it to the back of the circle, so that's roughly. It's like I'm adding a forehead into a plane separate to the circle. Yeah. Before I elaborate on that, I'm gonna go back to the face, because all good faces need eye holes, I guess. So the eye holes are just kind of what I like to describe bean shaped, and a better explanation, I guess, would be eyes kind of look like that, kind of rectangles and stuff. I'll draw another one, and then and then a nose. They look like rectangles that taper off into a lump. And then, if I was to look straight into it and turn it like that, that's what it would look like. So it's as if I was looking straight into it, but from a different perspective than the one that's like facing that one. And I draw 2 of these because typically humans have 2. And then the eyebrow bumps, these are right above the eye holes. And then this is where the eyebrows sit. I usually like kind of give them a bit of flair, because even though it's not like the muscly part, it's just kind of good to set up a basis, I guess. And these eyebrows, well, I'm gonna call them eyebrows, they're not, I don't know, are gonna be the basis to where this head ends. Well, part of the basis. So you have this rectangle, the forehead behind your head. Yeah. You're gonna take this, and then you can go right below the eyebrows, and then it ends here, right? So right below the eyebrows, but back here, into the back. You're gonna take the top of the circle, or roughly the top of the circle, and I'd say half. At the half point of the circle, I'd connect it in a line varying to what kind of head shape you want. But basically, you're connecting this to this. It could even be like flat if you're doing like a robot or something. But I don't know. Robot Skeletons, the movie. That sounds cool. So we have the back of the head. Now, I usually connect the cheekbones to the back of the head in some way, but there's another step, kind of. And for the cheekbones, I kind of do, where is this guy's cheeks gonna end, So that's roughly the shape. I usually do a triangle, but I realized there was a kind of curve to it, so I did that. And you take this point, and you're gonna, I usually do a sharp angle to there. For the cheek line, I usually do like, here's the cheek, I do triangle, kind of. Well, since for demonstrative purposes, I guess I did like a curve. I don't know if that passes. It'll do. So that's how I do cheeks, and then the mouth part, it's like coming from the cheek ovals down around. It's like you have these shoulder things, and then you're doing a dress, that kind of looks like a dress. But yeah, it's like that kind of. So it goes around, down, or across town. And then you could do whatever with the mouth part. Just kind of. This isn't maxilla, by the way. Fancy, I don't know. I also do this just in case, because it gives more depth to it, I guess. It defines where this meets that. That's very specific, I know. It's where the eyebrow kind of joins with the side of the temple. This is the temple roughly. Initially, like, um, there's a curve to the forehead, which I think is a bit more realistic, but for simplicity's sake, I'll just do a rectangle. Now the jaw. It's where all of the mouth stuff goes in, you know. This is where all the fixed stuff meets the part where you hit to get a knockout, you know. It just swings around. So I usually take here. It's the where the cheek line ends, and then the back of the head tapers down. So I usually go with down, and then. Oh wait. Okay, so I usually draw like this thing, which is basically the maxilla, but it's just square. It's basically where the front of your jaw is, and that's a good guideline because you could just trace, you could just curve it, just, make paths to it or whatever, and there you go. That's a jaw, roughly, but you have, it goes down, and everything just expands into that. It's like taking this and continuing it to where it could hinge to here, to this part where it hinges to here. Except this isn't a hinge, it's just kind of just there. But yeah, that's a skull. I mean, it could be better. Definitely could be better, but you know, whatever. It's I think it looks like a skull. Now for me to draw it in how in the pace I'd usually draw it in, you know, I'd like to show that some of my attempts of doing that in the first attempt of making the video weren't very good. They looked very janky and awkward. And this brings to a point that I got to where maybe it was because I was applying these steps without without following through with the process of, okay, this has to be here, this has to be there, it has to be this kind of line, stuff like that. And it ended up with steps without discipline, and then it just looks like a mess. Anyway, it's, yeah, it's, I'm gonna draw one in how I'd usually draw it, I guess. Hopefully I don't make the same mistake as the other attempts, but since this is like a 3-line circle, 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna start with that as a basis. It's a circle. Alright. 3, 2. Alright. Woo. I forgot to breathe there. I think that's mostly because once I was drawing it, it was like, I think my nose made that whistling noise, but at this point I just don't want to redo it. But, that's a skull. You know, while I was drawing it, I went to some complications, because my mind was stuck on the steps and stuff. I think of like, wait a minute, there's a step I'm missing. and I didn't explain this step. So, it was the jaw, the front part of the jaw. What is this shape? It's like, how do I describe it? It's like bent. It's like kind of. It's a curved paper kind of shape. And I was like, wait a minute, this thing's too square. What's wrong? Something's off. It feels like I'm doing it feels like that. That's what it feels like. So, I was like, what's going on? And then I realized the jaw doesn't look like that. It looks kind of curved, you know? It has to follow through with, like, how the face is, because as separate as, like, this unhinges so you could talk. Wait, does it unhinge? No, it doesn't unhinge. It never unhinges. It hinges around, like, to left or right, up and down, whatever. It's still, like, you have muscles here, like, here, and it connects. So it makes sense if the skeleton was, like, you know, round, when it is round, like, wherever, you know. So I thought of that. And that brings me to another point that is separate to one of the points I had in the first attempt of making the video, but it's related, I guess. It's when you draw. When you just draw freely without making, like, some tutorial or whatever. It's like it's like you go in and you want to draw something and you know what you want to draw. You know what it looks like. And you just don't quite do it, you know? But you learn, like, what's wrong. Because when you look at something you do like and something that looks off, you kind of learn, wait, it's a spot the difference game, man. It's like, for example, what is this? You know, does it, like, stretch out and stuff? I know this is some kind of valid style, but I don't know, it's just kind of deviates from what I was expecting to draw. And I think that's, if I keep that up, it just kind of, you know, it degrades. Like, I'm stuck drawing this when I always want to draw this. Well, not always, just kind of. I'm stuck, like, being comfortable with what I can fix, and then thus it just makes it worse for me, I guess. Spiritually, morally, and whatever. But, you know, that comes with all kinds of art, as I said in my first attempt. That's the other thing. When doing art and stuff, any kind, like martial arts, or like fashion, or like what instruments you play, and like how you develop yourself, it isn't art of itself, I think. It's a beautiful thing. It could also be the worst thing ever. But isn't that, like, with anything else, you know? Videos and stuff like that, it's like, it's, you learn from them, basically. It's just, you try all the time, you try whenever you do it, you know? Unless you're not. In that case, that's, you know, you're not, like, doing it you're not doing it to learn from, I guess. You're just doing it for fun, which is good. Because if you could do something while having fun without, like, criticizing yourself all the time, I think that makes it better. Well, I wouldn't say it makes it better. It's just um, it's just you have a better time doing it, and then you'd want to do it more, you know. And then that's what I kind of do, kind of. I still criticize myself. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's just, you know, finding the art of learning from the art you do. Yeah, that's. I finally thought of some phrase to put it in. I find enjoyment in the art of learning out of the art I do. Now, what does that mean? Because that can mean a lot of things. Like, are you a nerd? Are you like, do you read books or whatever for fun? I was like, not really. But I enjoy knowing what works and what doesn't work. Because whatever I do, I waste a piece of paper. I leave a dish here. I never take out my water bottles. I'm a mess. I'm a mess, man. Everyone is, in their own ways. But I know that these things don't work. And I think that's better than having this, 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 without knowing what I can take from it. Without knowing that this is bad, or like this is awkward to see, or like my music skills aren't that bad. Well, no, that came out wrong. My music skills are they're mediocre. I'd rather know these things, bad or good, as long as I know them. Because if I didn't, it's just like they won't change, and I'm gonna be longing for something else, and I'm gonna feel like I can't do anything about this. It's gonna be like, these are bad, so thus I'm not doing anything about it, and I can't do things about it, so thus I'm a bad person, you know? But like, I know I can do things about them, but before I wanna like do something about them, I wanna like, you know, I'd have to know that I want to change. I want to change these things in the first place. I have to have like develop an opinion. Like, I want to chase after the things I say, the things I say. But yeah, it's a 24-minute video, almost, and I just want to say thank you for sticking around. I drew a skull. I ranted. What more can you ask for, you know? But yeah, I'm gonna do more videos on how I draw things, particular things. Hopefully they'd be much shorter than this. I don't want to bore you, if I hadn't already. But yeah, see you in the next video, maybe. Although, have a good one.